Ave strategos, I'm Pericles and welcome back to my channel again. So another week, another Friday and another temple guide, folks. So we have only 3 factions left on this temple guide series, which they were basically Germans, which that's gonna be our topic today, Gauls and Britons, Britannians. So actually, to be honest, I wanted to do the goal video, but then I see that every pretty much temple is exact same as the Spain, which we did last week. So I said, okay, I don't wanna basically not make a video for Gauls, because Gauls is one of the factions that people probably would look for it. I assume. So I'm gonna have to make another video about the Gauls, but I just didn't wanna serve the exact same information 2 weeks in a row. So what I'm gonna do, Germanians and then Bretons, and then at the end I'll make another video of Gauls. Probably 80-90% of the content is gonna be exact same as the Spain. But I should have researched it before. You remember we did it once with Carthaginians. Carthaginian and Numidians were exact same, but luckily when I did the video about the Carthaginians, I planned to do Carthaginians first, and then I saw that okay, Numidians are the exact same. So I said okay, probably the player base of the Numidians and interest on Numidia is gonna be lower than the Carthaginian. So I covered them on the same video, but I don't want to do the same over here. I'm gonna have to make another video for it, but probably 2 weeks from now on. And today we'll be talking about the Germanian temples and pretty much everything about the Germanian temples. We're gonna be talking about what kind of temple options they have, what are their benefits, which one is better to build, in which settlement it is better to build, what kind of traits, followers you might get from each one of them, and so on. Pretty much everything with details. I'll be try to explain it to you folks one by one. So let's not waste too much time and let's get going. So I have 3 temple options with Germanians, which they are Freyja, Donar, and Woden. So I'm definitely sure that I don't pronounce the names 100% correctly. So you just keep in mind, I'm not so sure how they are pronounced properly. So I'm just gonna pronounce them the way I think is correct. So we're gonna be starting with Freyja at the Batavodurum. That's the settlement name of Germanians. I built the Freyja basically temple. By the way, whoever is watching this series for the very first time, we guys do use the console commands in here. Since it's not like a real campaign, the purpose here is trying to get everything we need and explain every detail about the temple guide. So this is not like trying to achieve something, this is more like information purpose. So we do use the console command for not wasting our time for making a goal, building this building stuff, and so on. So Freyja shrine, Freyja temple option. So this is in the game files, is a temple of fertility, another temple of fertility. We've seen temple of fertility, as you remember, the very first faction in this temple guide series, which were the Julia Romans, or the Red Romans. They had a fertility temple. That's the very first time I have talked about the fertility temple. They had a goddess named Ceres. So Freyja is a fertility temple for Germans. Ceres fertility temple for Romans. We also talked about fertility temple with Egyptians, which their god name is Isis. So this is another fertility temple, the third fertility temple in the game that we're gonna be talking about. There might be some traits and basically overall bonuses might be the similar, but I don't believe it is all the same. They have its own uniqueness in a certain way. So we'll start talking about the Shrine to Freyja. What it gets for us in the first tier, it gets us 5% public order bonus due to happiness and 0.5% population growth bonus. So the public order bonus, it is the main reason why you build a temple for. You have to have certain amount of public order bonus, which is good. We have some, and we have population grow bonus. So again, I am not a great fan of barbarian factions. I don't like to play with them a lot due to their limited basically advancement. The others can go up to the huge city. You just stuck over here. They basically get advanced quick, but then you have no more after one point. So that's the main reason kinda I don't like to play with them. So I don't have a lot of experience with them neither. But I assume population grow bonus is probably important for barbarian factions. Why? Because these guys, what I'm thinking, if I would be playing with one of them, probably my ultimate goal would be uh, being the minor city, making my settlement the minor city, so I can have access all the latest units, and then just fight with them. When the Romans is dealing with Hastades, or any Greek faction are dealing with like a militia hoplite or a levy pikeman, I'm gonna have like the high-end units for my faction. So probably population grow bonus on barbarian factions a little more important than the other civilizations. So this is two bonuses the building itself gets for us, but also once you finish the construction, you are being you've been basically able to train the unit of Screeching Woman. So this Screeching Woman band is Screeching Dismay's enemy. So I never used them in my own campaign. Basically, I don't even remember how many years ago I played with Germans, and what kind of effect it does. But the only thing I know, it is kinda, especially in the rival faction. Let's say you're in the battle and the enemy has the units that they don't have a high morale. As far as I know, this dismay is basically decreases the morale of the enemy units, which makes them to break easily. But as you see, these guys doesn't have any defense, no armor, no shield, nothing. They have a high morale. They themselves are not very easily scared of enemy. Melee attack is 11. Sounds like a good one, but they're gonna die after one hit, especially if the enemy have um, heavy, basically missile units, heavily ranged units. They are gonna be very easy to be killed first. They don't have any defense, and once even a single like slinger or peltest javelin will hit to them, they'll die instantly. But the good thing, they have a high morale. So how I would be using, if it is a battle that all the like infantry is clashing to each other, they are fighting face to face, then I would keep imagine like this is my defense line, and this is the enemy basic infantry unit. They're just hitting to each other, these two lines. I would keep, if this is my infantry line, I would keep my Screeching Woman right behind them, not getting them into action, not fighting with them, but just keeping in there so they decrease the enemy's morale, and I might be probably breaking their units more easily. So that's the only actually kind of play, kind of strategy I can think of them, this Screeching Woman. But if there are players that they love to play with Germany, and they advanced much better tactics with those women than what I'm stating right now, you guys would be great if you will share those tactics with us in the comment section, so I might basically get some information from there as well. But that's the only thing I could have think of as for now. So before moving forward to the second tier, there's one basically trait that I want to talk about, which you can get it once you finish the construction of this first tier Freja building. And this is a merchant trader devotion. So we've talked about devotions a lot already in every week, in every factions temple guide. How these devotions work? Every specific temple, every kind of temple has its own unique devotion, and for getting those devotions you have to build the very first tier of any temple, which is, now we're talking about Freyja, so the very first tier of Freyja, which is the shrine to Freyja. You have to finish the construction of this building, and then you have to have a merchant uh, which ending the settlement in that which ending the turn in that settlement. So let's say we build the shrine to Freyja in this settlement, Batavodurum, and I have merchant. I bring him, if he's not in the settlement, I bring him to this settlement, and he is ending the turn in this settlement. And next turn, with 100% of chance, he will get this devotion to fertility. There's no way you're not getting it. If you don't have a merchant, you can recruit one in anywhere or in this settlement itself. If you will recruit in this settlement, they will be recruited with this trait already on them. But if the merchant is gonna be recruited in somewhere else, then you're gonna have to bring him over here. But one thing, guys, if the merchant that you're gonna recruit, you're gonna have to recruit in another settlement, let's say Damme, because they don't have the second tier merchant, the trader building here. Let's say you haven't built this trader building yet, but the Damme has, let's say. Then just make sure one thing, that the Damme has any kind of temple, because we said every temple has its own devotion, and we said the devotions only requires the very first tier of temple. So even you have any first tier temple here, you're not gonna be able to recruit a merchant here, bring to this settlement, and then get the devotion to fertility, because that merchant already gonna show up with the devotion that's related to the temple in the settlement that it is being recruited. I hope I could make myself clear. Long story short, you can't have more than one devotion in each merchant. If you have one, that's great, just bring to the settlement. If you don't have one, try to build in the settlement that you want to get the devotion from it. Or if you don't have an option to build there, then make sure wherever you're recruiting doesn't have a temple, or if they have a temple, make sure it is the same kind of temple, so you can get those basically devotion. I'm not gonna go into the details what kind of use you can get. +1 finance for grain, -1 for lead. Just arrange it to your playstyle. I don't want to talk about too much merchant details, too much trading stuff over here, and I'll just move forward to the second tier. By the way, if you might ask, okay, we need a first tier. What if I already built the second or third tier? No worries, it will still work. You just as a requirement, you have to have a first tier, which there is no lower than that, so you'll be completely fine if you already upgraded your settlement temple to the higher tiers. Now let's talk about the second tier Freyja temple. Sacred Grove. Our public order goes to 10% from 0.5, I'm sorry, from 5, and 0.5 population growth increases to 1%. Double increase on both stats, and so far we are going balanced, a little bit public order, a little bit population growth. So this temple line doesn't basically completely focuses on a public order only, or heavily on the population growth, little bit of each. So it says, okay, I'm gonna help you to maintain your public order a little, and also boom your I'm gonna help you boom your settlement, boom your population a little. So yeah, we are getting basically stable for now. Now let's talk about the traits and followers that after you build this building. Let's say the construction of this building is already done, and what kind of traits and followers has a requirement of this Sacred Grove of Freyja. And there's two of them, as you see over here, one trait and one follower. They both requires the Sacred Grove of Freyja. Or you can have higher than that, but the first tier won't work in here. So the trait is here is a fruitful, which in the game files goes as a fertile one. It increases the chance of having children. For me, it's great trait to have. Why? Because the more children means more generals, and more general means more general cavalry. I mean, I do love to play around with the general cavalry. They are pretty strong in the early game. They are beasts. In the middle game, they're still very solid. Even in the late game, they still hold their strong position. But once you are advancing on the campaign, the importance, the how can I say, OP-ness of these units is getting slowly lower, but it's never being low or medium. I think it's always been pretty OP units, and very high morale, great melee attack, great defense. I do love to see all greens over here. So more basically general means more general cavalry, and one of the main things about them, you don't have to retrain them once they have some casualties. They just replenish themselves. So I try to toss 3-4 generals in each full stack army if I can, so I can use them as my heavy cavalry, which they doesn't need to be retrained. So this thread itself is pretty useful, and I think it is great. And also you're having a lot of family members on your family tree. This is another thing. I know some people doesn't like to have a lot of family members on the family tree or not. If someone does, then that might be a little annoying for you, but it is pretty good. I'm playing a Pontus campaign right now, Pupil of Pontus campaign. We are usually posting videos about that campaign like pretty much 6 days a week. And I have one family member. It has completely opposite trait. It decreases the chance of having children. That guy is already getting close to 40 years old, and he doesn't have any single basically kid. So I know that this stuff, I don't know, it doesn't mention that what is the chance, but I think it's pretty decent chance, because it says decreases the chances of having children on the character what I'm talking about, who I'm talking about. If it's a little chance, then he should have at least one kid, right? He doesn't have any, so I assume it's pretty important, pretty decent chance. And I believe that when it increases the chance of having children, you're gonna have pretty quite number of kids. Like, I can't say maybe 6, 7, 8, but you're gonna have at least like 3 or 4, I guess. So, and how you can get this trait, as we've already said, you have to have the Sacred Grove of Phrygia already built in your settlement, or any higher tier already built in, but at least the second tier already built in your settlement. And you have to have a family member, like a general, a faction heir, faction leader, any family member should end the turn in the settlement where you built this building, exact same way as the devotion. But the only difference between devotion and this trait, devotion, the next turn you're getting with 100% of chance, next turn getting this trait is 10%. So each time you click the end turn, you have 10% of chance getting this trait. So if you will stay long enough, you will have it. And follower here, Priestess of Phrygia. So very similar way with the devotions. Every temple has its own unique priest or priestess. In this case, it is a priestess of Phrygia. But the difference between the devotion and the priestess, how they work. The devotion, let's say we said the Germans have fertility temple, which is Phrygia. Julia Romans has fertility temple, which is Ceres. Egyptians has fertility temple, which is Isis. They all have devotion to fertility for their merchants. And I'm 95% sure +1 finance for grain, -1 for lead is exact same as well. They all have devotion to fertility. But the different thing with the priests and priestesses, even Julia Romans, Egyptians, and Germans share the same fertility temple. Germans have priestess of Phrygia. Julia Romans has priestess of Ceres. Egyptians have priest of Isis. So the bonuses might be the same, might be different, but they are not exact same. And in this case, we have priestess of Phrygia, gets us +1 management, increases the chance of having children, and +1 public health. Management is one of the great things you can have. It increases the income of your settlement. The more income your settlement makes, let's say the higher your management points, the higher extra income your settlement will make because of that management points. In cases of having children, we've just talked about the importance of it and the public health. What is public health? Public health is directly affects to your public order and population growth. So when you have like 5% public health, you're getting 5% public order bonus. As you see over here, it says one public health, so gets you 5% public order due to the health, and one public health gets you 0.5% population grow bonus due to health. So you can think of this public health like this priestess of Frasier like this: plus one management increases the chance of having children, 5% plus 5% public order, plus a 0.5% population growth bonus. So it is pretty decent, pretty solid priestess, and it works exact same way as devotion and this fruitful trait, but this trait, this follower has 15% of chance at the end of each turn for you to be able to get it. And another great thing about the followers I like, advantage over the traits, you can move the followers between your family members. So if you have a general that's sitting in this settlement and already got this priestess, you can you can move this priestess to someone else who is not sitting over here, and you can let this guy farm another one for yourself. So you can keep pumping the important followers by with using this method. So, and we will be talking about the last tier of the Freyja building, which is Sacred Circle of Freyja. 15% public order bonus and 1.5% population grow bonus, and there is no any traits or followers that specifically requires the third tier. If you've already come far until the second tier, you will be basically able to get all the traits and followers related to those line, and the only reason that you should upgrade to the third tier is the building bonus itself. Another steady increase over here. It never basically lost his stance as a temple line. It always supported a little bit public order, a little bit population grow bonus, so it ended the same way. Now we will be jumping to another settlement here, Mogontiacum, which I have built the Donar temple line here. This is the second temple line we'll be talking about. So Donar is a temple of violence. Brutiary Romans has temple of violence. Their god name is Mars. Macedons has a basically a temple of violence. Their god name was Ares, and we've talked about temple of violence with Pontus as well. Their god is Hercules. So we've seen pretty decent amount of violence temples already, and this is gonna be the another one. So Donar here at the German temple, 5% public order bonus due to happiness. It gets us on the first tier. So I mean, as a first tier, it is not a great start. We've usually seen that if you're getting 5% public order bonus in the first tier, you're getting something else next to it, like as a side dish, you know, like for example population growth here, or experience bonus for your troops, or if you don't even get anything, you get like 10% public order bonus. So as a start in the first tier, it is a little starting a step behind of its competitors, but let's see how it will advance and what we will be seeing in the next two tiers. Before jumping to the higher tiers, I want to talk about the devotion for donor as well. Actually, not donor, devotion for the violence as well. Plus one finance for the live goods, minus one for the homewares. Exact same conditions applied here too. You have to have as a requirement finish the construction of the shrine to donor at least the first tier, and you have to have a merchant, which ends the turn in the settlement where you build this building, and next turn with 100% of chance he will get the devotion to violence if he doesn't have any other devotion already. So now let's jump to the second tier and see what is going over here. So now we have 10% public order bonus. We got plus 5 public order bonus and 1 experience bonus to your troops, which gonna be trained here. I mean, experience bonus for the troops is great. One of the bonuses I do like to see, to be honest, because imagine you recruiting a fresh warband unit in your settlement, and they are starting with plus 1 experience point. It means plus 1 experience point means um, all those all the stats for your unit is gonna increase by 0.1. So morale doesn't increase, morale stays the same. Your melee attack, your in some units you have alternative attack. If it's a ranged unit, missile attack, they all increases by 1 point. Their missile range, their ammo doesn't increase. Defense, armor, defense skill, they all increase. Shield and charge, as far as I know, doesn't increase. So that's why I do love to see the experience points for the troops. So since it's a temple of violence, it gets you a little bit violent bonus, let's put it in that way. But I wish it could start doing it from the first tier, but still better late than never. So we're getting a little bit public order and starting to have some basically little aggressive bonus, little offensive bonus. You can use it for your as a defensive bonus as well, but I think you can be a little more aggressive with those bonus over here. And we're gonna be talking about the family member traits and the follower again. So 3 traits that requires the second tier of donor building. Anger. In the game files it goes as anger 1 and you have 10% of chance for getting this trait. Bloody. In the game files it goes as a bloodthirsty 1 and another 10% of chance for getting this trait. And lively. In the game files it goes as an energetic 1 and you have a 15% of chance for getting this trait. Now let's take a closer look to each one of them. Anger unfortunately takes the 1 influence point from you. It is pretty basically negative buff that you're getting. Influence is one of the very important things in the game. It has a lot of impact. The higher influence you have, the higher general cavalry that you're gonna have. Let's say he has 0 right now, he has 60 cavalry, but if he would have like 10 influence points, he would have maybe like 90 cavalry around him. So it means a more heavy cavalry for you. And also influence basically helps you to where was that? Let me see. Oh, so this guy doesn't have any. Let me see any of my other. Okay, this guy has, for example. You're gonna see over here influence also gets you the public order as well. Each one the influence point gets you the 5% 5 or 10%, I'm not so sure, 5 or 10% public order. I remember as a 5, but might be 10. Let me see. I think it's 5, folks. I think it's 5. So everyone, imagine if this guy had like 10 influence points, then he would have like 50% public order, which is huge. And one of the other bonuses of influence is when you negotiate with the enemy diplomats, or enemy diplomat comes to you and try to negotiate it with you, and then you have the higher chance of making them accept to your deal, you know. So influence is important, and losing 1 point of influence is kind of sad to have. In the other hand, on the bloody we have +1 command and +1 morale for all troops on the battlefield. The command, I mean, there's a thing I still haven't like I couldn't have a time to do a further testing on this. I always thought that the command only helps you when you auto resolve your battle. which it means if you have a higher command, that is for sure. If you have a higher command and if you auto resolve, which means you don't manually fight the battles, you just basically get the results. You let the AI fight for you, and then the higher command inflicts more casualties to enemy and protects your own units a little more, that is basically proved information. But lately, one of our followers mentioned that command also helps you even if you fight your battles manually, which I'm not so sure about it. Which they said it helps your units' fight ability, their morale, and etc. So if that information is true, and if you were able to verify that information at some point, then +1 command is great. But if it's only auto resolve, it loses its importance greatly, but still sometimes it can be useful. I usually fight like 95% of my battles manually, so on that case the command is not very useful for me. But if the other information is true and legit, then it is pretty decent bonus that you can have. And morale for all troops on the battlefield, this is one of the huge buffs you can have. So I do fight the battles manually, and my campaign option for the arcade battles are off. So if you're playing the same setup the same way, morale is a very important factor for you, because if on the battlefield you have the fatigue of your units and morale of your units that they don't you have to think about, the morale is very important, because plus morale means like the less likely your units will scare and try to run away. So you can I don't know how strong is the German unit side. Let's take a look. 4 morale is okay. I mean, 8 morale, that is something decent with the Axemen. And this guy's 12 morale. I mean, they have pretty decent morale, by the way. The 4 morale over here. So probably you guys can experience in some points the war bands, like you have a lot of war bands or barbarian cavalry that sometimes you're clashing head to head with the enemy, and 1 or 2 units breaking, the enemy destroys 1 or 2 of your units and all of your units starting to run away. That happens because of the low morale. But if you have a higher morale, that would happen less likely. And another trait we will be talking about is lively management point by 1. We've already talked about how important the management is. 10% movement point, which means you can travel 10% further on the map. Let's say I take him, he can go from the Mogontiacum to this far. Maybe now he can go until here. So it might not sound like a lot for one turn, but if you're for example traveling for long distances, then actually it is pretty decent buff for you to have. And 5% discount on construction costs, which you will be doing on the settlement. I mean, I don't usually get super excited about the traits or buffs or bonuses which are financial related. Why? Because the denarii might sound like very important at the beginning of the campaign, but if you do basically put your steps right, if you do play right, I think you will never have a financial issues after like turn 20-25, which in my campaigns I usually be very comfortable about it. So that's why for that reason that doesn't excite me a lot. But on the early campaign you can get benefited from that 5% discount by saving maybe a couple hundred denarii altogether for yourself. And the follower, priest of Donar, exact same way, 15%. All the priests and priestesses are the same. It gets you +2 command when attacking. I mean, if the information I've just talked about, the command is true, then it might be a huge buff for you, especially probably, at least I do, and I'm sure most of you do attack more than you defend. It would be great just having +2 command without when attacking part, but even when attacking doesn't narrow it down a lot, because you do attack a lot than getting attacked. So The +2 command when attacking might be a still very great buff for you if it helps your unit's fight ability, but if only helps for the auto resolve, still a buff, still basically you don't lose anything, you get something. But I mean, traits you can have, I think, unlimited of them, but the followers, you can have 8 followers at most in one person. So in my important pupil, in my important family members or generals, uh, if it only helps for AI, then I wouldn't basically have that slot, one basically important slot. I wouldn't fill it with Priest of Donor. By the way, one thing, if you remember guys, I said one merchant can have only one devotion. You cannot have devotion to violence and devotion to fertility at the same time on one merchant. But interesting thing about priests and priestesses, you can have a couple followers, couple priests or priestesses followers in the same person. For example, if I will try to get this all these priestesses to the same person, they will be moved without any problem. So that is all about the second tier. Now we'll talk about the last tier over here, which gets us the Sacred Circle of Donar gets us 15% public order here. Exact same way with the Freja, gets 2 experience bonus for your troops, which is another good thing to have, aggressive thing to have. And look at that, we are getting Berserkers. Let's see this unit. They have only 60 men, which I'm playing with the how you call, is it like ultra, I think, unit scale, the biggest unit scale, where you're getting 300 barbarian basically peasants, or let me see how many warbands I'm getting here. 300 warband, right? So I'm getting 300 warband, and I'm getting only 60 of these guys. But let's look at those guys. 2 hit points. That is very important thing to have. 16 morale. One of the very high morales that I have seen probably in this game. I don't know anything higher in certain point. Even the freaking general is 12. 16 is a lot, to be honest. Is a lot. So these guys probably will never break down. Probably you just have to kill them all. Or maybe 1 or 2 units, when they have 1 or 2 units left, less than 5, maybe they can run away, but it is not easy. 19 melee attack, pretty heavy, pretty basically high melee attack. Defense is okay, armor is alright, defense is not bad, charge is 7, charge is good. I mean, overall looks like a, this guys looks like a, compared with the Screeching Woman, they are very fragile. This guy is a little bit more sturdy, but they are heavy on the attack side. I don't know how they will be resisting when they will be fighting with 300 men, because it means each one of these units will be facing with 4 or 5 enemy units. Not 4 or 5, but at least like maybe 4 enemy units will be fighting with each one of our berserkers. So they might not stand very long, but the stat wise on the paper looks huge. 2 hit points means they're gonna die, plus on top of these stats basically they have they need like a couple more hits before they die, so they die more difficultly, so they survive more. Warcrack can go berserk. I think the berserk is like you lose the control of the unit, they just go ahead and like charge themselves on the enemy unit and starting to basically crush them down, and blah blah blah. So overall looks like a pretty how can I put in the right way, pretty heavy units. Even their light infantry, I think they're pretty heavy units. Like it takes 2 turns to build. That's one of the things I don't like, to be honest. I would probably avoid them and just build just axemen, for example. Even they don't have +2 hit points and lower armor, I would probably just build 2 axemen instead, and I'm sure 2 axemen is gonna do much better than one unit of these berserkers, but still very interesting unit to have. I mean, what you can do with them, I don't think so it is great idea to make them charge to a crowd of enemy units, but maybe they can perform good. And what I would do with them, I would try to use them for the enemy general unit, for example. If enemy general is somewhere like separated from their main army, and if I do have an access for my berserkers to go ahead and fight with them, then I would probably ask my berserkers kindly to go ahead and take the enemy general down. So that's the use I am thinking of, but that's an actually interesting unit. I should go ahead to a custom battle and play with them. I'm sure most of you guys are having fun this kind of units, because that's a little interesting. So that's all about the donor, and we have our last temple over here is a warden. So this is a little interesting one. This is a temple of Viking. We never talked about any Viking temple, and this is the very first one and the only one in the game. So the warden is a Viking temple, and as a start it gets you 5% public order bonus and 1 experience from the very beginning in the campaign. The very first tier, you're getting experience bonus in the second tier with the donor, but you're getting in the first tier here. And as a start is already made a pretty solid beginning. Let's see how it will advance. Let's talk about the devotion real quick. There's one thing that actually took my attention. I have never seen that. So I expected devotion is gonna be devotion to Vikings or devotion to raid or something, you know, something related to the Vikings. It says devotion to ceramics, and it says true fact, the Vikings only did all that pillaging because they were avid pottery collectors. I don't know like how true is this true fact is. This is kind of probably something nice, something small that developers decided to put over here, which I'm glad that I did find out. I never seen this before. I should maybe look at the text more. I don't think so any other devotions has such a thing. It is just regular talks. But yeah, this one is fun and interesting. Gets you 1 finance for the homeware, -1 for the wine, and for the trade, like trade wise, that is it for the first tier. We're gonna be jumping to the second tier, where we're gonna be talking about mainly for the warden temple. So here we go. 10% public order bonus and 2 experience point. It still basically holds its ground evenly between public order and experience. Both of them increased the same way, and from now on we are being able to build the naked fanatics, another unit that unfortunately takes 2 turns to build. So that's kind of how can I say, the game breaker for me, like the deal breaker for me. I have 10 morale on my naked fanatics here, 13 melee attack. Melee attack is not bad, morale is not bad, defense is meh, armor they don't have any, defense is bad, shield is alright, actually is good, the charge is alright, and I wouldn't probably go with them neither. I mean, if I do have an option for building the higher end units, I would probably just go with them. The only difference between these guys and berserkers are a little more like angry ones. They have like 60 units. These guys have 200 units. At least they have more men in here, and you can build them as early as the large town. You don't have to wait for the settlement be a minor city and then building the 3rd tier temple. But I mean, I can compare them maybe not with the chosen X-Men, but I can compare the naked fanatics with regular X-Men. So I can comfortably and confidently say that if you will build 2 X-Men, they're gonna beat up 1 naked fanatics in every ground, and you're gonna be getting much more value from it than just recruiting 1 naked fanatic. I mean, of course you can say they only asks for 130, where you're paying basically 240 for each unit. I mean, again, I'm never paying attention to the financial stat of the units. I don't think so. Finance is a um, thing that matters for me after one point. So I'm just pressing. I have a pressing machine after one point in my faction for the dinaries, and I only basically being, how can I say, sensitive about the time after one point, how many units I can get, because let's say I have an army which fights over here against the Gauls and Bretons, and then out of a blue Dacians shows up here with a full stack of unit. Then I need couple X-Men real quick. I can't afford waiting 2 turns in each settlement for them to build me a naked fanatic. I need a lot of, for example, X-Men real quick, so I can gather them over here and maybe have some defensive forces. So for that reason, I do prefer the units which you can get in 1 turn. Now let's talk about the trait and the follower which related to the Warden Temple. Expedon. This goes as a Berserker 1 in the game files and gets you 1 morale for all your troops, which is huge. +1 command when attacking, -1 when defending. I mean, either way, if the command is as important as we are hoping for, or if it's even helps with your auto resolve, in both scenarios, still very good trait to have. Only morale part, even they don't give you the command, the morale part is just takes it to a different level. Morale is very, very important, and as we said, you attack more, you defend less, so I think this would be more useful even without morale as well. So and the follower, Priest of Woden, 2 command when commanding infantry, improves the chances of casualties recovering from their wounds. So now we're talking about commanding infantry. I do like to play with a lot of cavalry, to be honest. That they give me a great mobility, they give me a great flanking ability, and also I can move them faster around the map. You know, I can hit the gaps of the enemy armies and stuff. So I do use infantry in certain points, especially in the siege, that where I have to, but on the field battles I always prefer the cavalry much more. So this is a little bit the thing that it is actually good to have. It doesn't say anything negative about commanding cavalry. It is still good to have, but not very great probably, and improves the chances of casualties recovering from their wounds. So there's a mechanic in the game. Let's say you went to the battlefield and you have lost, let's say, 100 men. I'm not so sure about the exact percentage, but it should be somewhere between, by default, 10 to 20%, which let's say 15%. If let's say you've lost 100 men, the first 15% of your units will be recovered automatically at the end of the battle, but the first 15 we've been talking about. So let's say if you have 100 men that deployed, let's say 50 warband units and 50 barbarian cavalry, and I'm sorry, let's say you lost 50 warband units, you send your warbands first, all the 50 of them is died, and then you send your cavalry, 50 cavalry, barbarian cavalry, and all of them died as well. And if the battle is finished and you gonna be recovering 15% of your first units which they were warband, they're gonna be recovered. So this increases that 15%, which is not, I'm sure of, it might be 16, it might be 20, it increases itself by a certain percent. So it actually helps you to basically recover more units than before, which is again something useful to have. So now we'll be talking about the last tier over here, which public order bonus goes up to 15%, and experience bonus for your troops is 3 point here, which is great. It means like all the bronze, like all the first like 3 bronze bonuses, experience bonuses you're gonna be having. And we have another unit, Gothic Cavalry, another unfortunately 2 turn, takes 2 turn, another unit which takes 2 turn to build. 12 morale is good to have. Melee attack 12 is good, defense is high, armor is high, defense skill is average, shield is average, charge is good. It is like a actually I'm gonna compare it with my general. 12 12 19 9. Let me see, 12 12 19 9. Wow, actually uh, Gothic cavalry is stronger than my barbarian warlord. That's how it looks like. 647 647. Yeah, it is. They are slightly better than my general cavalry, and they have 135 men. So this unit might be worth of waiting for 2 turns. But let me see this. Barbarian noble cavalry 8 9 15. I'm sorry, 8 9 15 6 5. 8 9 8 9 15 6 5. Yeah, I mean, this is the only unit I can say, guys, you can wait for it. If you have a time, this might be a unit that you might want to build, because they're very strong, they have a great morale, pretty decent melee attack, great defense actually. They're gonna be dying very difficultly probably, and their charge is pretty high as well. That's what you do with the cavalry, you do charge. So great unit. I wish they could be in only 1 turn to build, but then probably it would be super overpowered. But yeah, I mean, I did like that a lot, to be honest. I would think about building this recruiting this basically unit in certain point in my campaign if I would ever play with the Germans. So there's only one thing I think I forgot to mention. 15% of chance for this priest. We already know about it. This guy has a 16% of chance. That's what I missed to tell you guys. So overall, we have 3 temples. We've talked that much. We've talked about this, we've talked about that. Some of you might ask, okay, like, it is great to know all of them, but like, which one we should build, right? So guys, I mean, this really depends on your play style. So when I do play, I usually play in a certain way that where, let's say, averagely every 10 settlements that I have, I usually build like in 8 of them, 7 8 of them, I do build like ports, I do build trading buildings basically. I'm gonna show you over here. So out of every 10 settlement, in 7 or 8 of them, I do like to build economical buildings, which they are like the port, trader, roads, the taverns, public order, economical, not the military buildings, not like stable, not like cavalry building, not the infantry building, not the missile building, not the blacksmiths. So I do build economy and like the settlement focused buildings. And in 2-3 of my settlements out of 10, I don't build any of those. I do build only necessary public order buildings, no moneymaker buildings. But I do build army buildings basically. I do build barracks, stables, archery ranges, blacksmiths. Then what I do, I don't recruit anywhere in like I don't recruit in every settlement. Preferably, I do recruit only in the settlements where I can recruit the good units from, right? Let's say in that case we have like 5 settlements over here. Let's say in 4 of them I have built economy buildings, and only in Mogontiacum I started to build like the barracks, stables, archer ranges, and then I do build my army over here. I don't build any other one because any other one only have an access for barbarian peasant, but this guy's gonna have an access for example, X-Men, chosen X-Men, warband, or cavalries, or archers, pelters, whatever. And I do usually try to choose a settlement which, let's say in this situation, probably the Mogontiacum would be the best bet of mine to build a army focused buildings. Why? Because first of all, this is on my south border, and I can recruit an army from here and send overs to the Romans. And also, in case if any of these settlements needs a help, it is kind of it's in the point that it's in the center. so I can help any of them much faster. If I would be building in my command, it would take like 5 turns even to get here, or in 3 years it would be difficult to get here, or the my command. So you understood the logic. So you should basically locate the settlement where you're building your basically military focused buildings strategically. So that is my playstyle, and what suits to my playstyle in the settlements where I do build economy buildings, not the military focused buildings, probably I would go with Freyja all the way. I would build like Freyja temple in 7 8 of my settlements out of 10, and just basically upgrade the Freyja temple until I'm building the latest tier. And on the case where I am building my military focused buildings, which is a Mogontiacum in this case, then I would go with Warden probably. So the donor I wouldn't be building unless if you're really excited for any of these traits, or having the priest. Maybe you can build in one of your settlements just for having it, but I would probably prefer the warden over the donor, since one experience point is ahead of it, and this gothic cavalry is huge. So what I would be doing, let's say on Magontiacum I have decided to build a warden, and since that is the place where I'm gonna recruit my army, all my units gonna be recruited here with extra 3 experience point. It is huge, and imagine having those guys with extra 3 experience points. They're gonna have like 15 attack, 22 defense, 12 armor, like 9 defense skill. So they're gonna be super OP, and that would be my play style. But I mean, everybody plays differently. If you do have another better way to utilize all those information to your playstyle, that is great. That is my only solely focus here, that try to give all the necessary details for you so you can tailor it to your needs. So for today, that's all folks. I hope you all enjoyed. I've tried to cover everything as detailed as possible and as simple as possible. I might not sound like the things might not sound like so simple when I talk about them, but yeah, that was all about for this week. So next week probably we'll go with Bretons, with Britannian temples, and then right after that we will finish our temple guide series with the Gaul temples, and another series actually getting close to an end. I have to think about what we will be doing. Maybe I'm gonna start making new strategy game, basically gameplay for the channel. A lot of us, actually a lot of our viewers love to see the Rome Total War content. I'll always keep a room for the Rome Total War in certain point, but maybe we would like to explore another games too, or if I can think of any other kind of guide wise video on the for the Rome Total War, we might do that as well. So for this week and for today, that's gonna be all folks. I'll be tomorrow with you with the next episode of our Pontus campaign. If you're not following it yet, it's a pretty fun campaign so far. We've already getting close to our long campaign goal. You might take a look at that as well, and I'll be seeing you next week with the Britannian Temple Guide. And until then folks, I hope you all have a great day. I'll be seeing you in one of those videos, and you all take care.